lab for Unit 3, which is on the dichotomous key. Now, the dichotomous key is a way to identify whatever it's for. In this case, we're going to do trees because, hey, trees have leaves, so we're going for leaves this time. So we're going to make a dichotomous key that identifies different types of trees by their leaves. Now, a dichotomous key could be for birds, it could be for animals, it could be for a lot of things. But it's a way to start with a broad classification and work down to identify exactly what it is by a series of questions. For those of you who have ever programmed in BASIC, it's kind of like programming in BASIC where you're going if-then. So if it's this, then you do this. If it's not that, then you do this. So that's what we're going to do. The first thing you're going to find is you're going to find a sheet, or actually 2 sheets, of leaf pictures. Now the leaf pictures, you cut these out, so in the end they're going to look like this. You have 10 different leaves that you're going to be working with. And you're going to start out with the broad classification that these are leaves. Then you start narrowing it down. You can narrow it down by, are the leaves pointy? Or do they have smooth edges? Do they have lobed edges? All those things can be used to narrow down which type of leaves they are, and in the end, you should be able to work it down to where any leaf you pick up, you should be able to follow your chart down and say, till you get to that's it. Now you'll also have your lab report. Your lab report will have a 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, all the way down. Now you're going to use these and you're going to fill out something in each one. For instance, in the first one you would say, are the leaves needle-like or are they broad-leaves? Well, if they are needle-like, then you go to 2. Because now you've separated out the needle-like leaves from all the rest of the leaves. And then you could continue to work on the needle-like leaves and you say, so, do they have, are they needle-like or they have scales? Well, if they have scales, then you know that is the northern white cedar. If they are needle-like, then that leaves us with 2 possibilities still. You have to get down to 1. So if they are needle-like, then you go to 3. On 3, you say, are they in groups of 2 or are they in groups of 5? If they're in groups of 2, it's red pine. If they're in groups of 5, it's eastern white pine. So that does your first 3 with the pine ones. Then you go to number 4. Well, you have to go back up to number 1. You say if the leaves are broad leaves, then you go to 4. So you start at 4 and you say, well, are the leaves lobed or are they smooth-edged? And then you keep using the pictures and different things about the leaves to make the group smaller and smaller until you have an individual leaf. Let's look at a close-up of that, shall we? Here are the leaves we're looking at. Once you cut them out, there are 10 different leaves. And what you're going to notice is that these leaves have different characteristics. And we're going to use those characteristics to identify which leaf it is. Because that's the whole purpose of this, is to identify the leaves. So let's start at number 1. We're going to ask a yes or no question, and it's kind of an if-then. Say, first thing we're going to do is we notice that there are 6 of the leaves that are kind of broad leaves, and 3 of the leaves that are pointy leaves. So these are from pine trees. So we're going to say, first of all, on number 1, the question is, are the leaves pointed? If yes, then we go to number 2. If no, then we're going to go to number 4. And all the other leaves will go to number 4. If yes, we're at number 2. So now we're just looking at these now because we've separated these 3 out. We look for differences. Well, you notice that this one has kind of scaly leaves. And these 2 have smooth needle-like leaves. So if we say, are leaves scaly? If yes, then we have a northern white cedar. If we say no, then go to number 3. Now we're down to 2 different ones now because we've eliminated the northern white cedar. We're down to 2 leaves. Well, you'll notice the difference in these 2 is that this one has 2 needles on a leaf and this one has 5 needles on a leaf. So you can say, does it have 2 needles on a leaf? If yes, then red pine. If no, then eastern white pine. because these are the ones that we're identifying. So now we have identified all 3 of those. Now we still have 6 left, and I'm not going to do all 6 of these, but we can start out now. So now you look at the leaves, try to figure out some distinguishing characteristics of the leaves, and you're going to identify these. First, you want to break them off into 2 big groups. Well, maybe the ones that have the pointed parts of the leaves rather than the smooth edges. So you say, does it have pointy scalloped edges? If yes, then go to number 5. If no, then we're going to have to put these pieces aside, figure out which number we're going to end up with. So at number 5, you're going to eliminate something else. And you keep going down until you have every one of them identified for exactly what it is. Now you've finished filling out your dichotomous key. And to check it, all you need to do is grab one leaf at random. So we look at our first leaf. This is a red oak. Well, we're going to try to identify it using our dichotomous key. So we look at it and we say, leaves are needle-like or are they broadleaves? Well, they're broadleaves. Well, in that case, we go to 4. Are they lobed or are they not lobed? Well, red oak is pretty lobed, so in that case, we go to 5. Say leaves are pointed or are they rounded? Well, the lobes on these are pointed, so we go to 6. And it says 1 vein or more than 1 vein down the middle. Yes. There's 1 vein running down the middle, and that's for red oak. So that's exactly how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to identify exactly what leaf it is by just answering your questions and following the chart. So hopefully yours works out just like that. Fill out your dichotomous key and answer the last few questions at the end of this, and then turn it in to me in the Dropbox. If you need to find your lab report, it's going to be in your doc sharing section. At least in my class, it'll be in your doc sharing section. Your teacher may have it in a different place, so you may have to ask them. So I hope you have fun with this. It's a pretty easy lab, and you can always break out the crayons if you want to and have fun coloring these. So until our next lab, we will see you later, guys. Have fun.